have a question. My question is, we have heard very clear that Mazel, having good luck in business, has almost everything to do with what kind of a person you are and how you treat people, and remembering God and your relationship with others is based on that. You also told us a little bit of things, for example, making a calculation of your affairs monthly and comparing, assets to cash, net worth, and that was something that maybe not everybody had thought about before. Looking on an annual basis, looking on a monthly basis, and then comparing that to the spiritual. What else could you tell us in the practical sense in terms of actually making deals? Like, we've heard about the spirituality, the godliness of it, the Jewishness of it. Tell us a little bit more about the business of it. Things about business itself that, in the chess game, what are the things that people don't normally think like, that they could think like, that would help them actually to take one step and a second step and a third step, in addition to the stuff you told us?
So I'll tell you how I made my couple of dollars and try to explain to you what I did, which I think is right, now looking back. First of all, you got to reach to the sky and get as much. Think big. Don't think I want to make $3. I want to make $30 or $1,000. Think you want to make serious. By me, my father said, and I always wanted to prove to my father that I was very smart. My father was a computer programmer. I want to show I could do in school. I wasn't the best student, but let me also do computer programs. I went to a place called Grumman, learned computers for over a year. At night, I was learning it in the daytime in school, and at night, I took a couple of hours every night. And then afterwards, I walked out one at the top in the class, which I don't want to, I'm on camera, I could get myself into, but it wasn't exactly the straight way of getting the hundreds and the high marks. I did a little bit creative ways of making my marks, but I did pretty good, so I went for an interview in the Navy Yard. Why did I go in the Navy Yard? They said it's very hard to get a job over there, but I was also curious to know the Navy Yard. You can't just walk into the Navy Yard, you have to have a pass, and I thought, who knows what, it's top secret what's going on in the Navy, and I said, the Lubavitcher Rebbe worked over there. Let me see what the Rebbe worked and where he worked, if anybody could tell me anything. So I said, I'm going to interview in the Navy Yard. So I come into this Navy Yard, I'm a guy off the boat, I don't know nothing about business, I always learn yeshiva. The only thing I have is a certificate. I come inside, the guy sits down with me, I'll never forget the guy's name, Roy Greenberg, a non-religious Jew, and he starts asking me, he looks at my resume, he's really, very good. So he goes over, what do you say, the Yankees are going to win or not? And I'm like, I'll be honest with you, I'm really a Mets fan, but I hope the Yankees win. So, you like the Mets? Who do you like on the Mets? And this and this and this. Who do you think the top player is? And I was never really into sports, but I remember some of my friends telling me there's a guy, Rusty Staub and Hank Aaron, and a couple of names over there, and there were a couple of baseball cards. I remember. I said, I really don't know, but I know Rusty Staub. So obviously I hear Rusty Staub, Hank Aaron from the Oakland A's. And I'm like, I only heard a couple of things, and I realized, what does that have to do with computers? I'm trying to figure out. Do you put this in there? But I got my job. And then I get the job, and I see, 1 second. What happens is I'm working, I'm thinking this is a good job. And then after 2 weeks, I'm just out of school. I'm not even married yet. Well, I just got married, and I walk after 2 weeks. Okay, now I want a raise. The guy looks at me. Yeah, 2 weeks, you want a raise? So I look at the guy. In those days, I got a job, $21,800 for the field you're in. That was really, my father was so proud. I had a little business on the side selling bagels. But I'm looking $21,800. How am I going to make money? $21,800. I want to make a sukkah, Pesach, tefillin. I got to make $50,000 in those days. So I woke up and I want a raise. The guy looks at me after 2 weeks. So he goes, what do you mean you want a raise? So I said, don't I get a raise over here? He goes, what, every 2 weeks? So I said, no, first you got to see who I am. Now you know who I am. I'm not going to come to you for another 6 months. The guy looks, 1 second, Moshe. Let's sit down. Let me tell you how this works. And he's telling me, and I'm starting to think, oh boy, is this really for me? You can't make any money. You can't. I'm thinking of living like a mensch. I don't want to be like my father. I'm thinking if you're making $30,000, $40,000 like my father, and you have 5 kids, and you got to go to send them to school, tuition, everything, you can't survive. You're living from day to day. I want to make more money. So I said, listen, I got a job. He hired me. Let me go a little further. It comes, I can't remember, Hanukkah or something. I come back. Roy, somebody told me that I'm supposed to be, when I want to take vacations, I got to give you a 2-week notice. He goes, yeah, okay. So when do you want to take vacation? I should give you notice. I want to give you notice. Hanukkah time, I'm planning on going to Israel for 6 weeks. He looks at me, 6 weeks? I said, yeah, what's the problem? You can't just take off 6 weeks. He goes, no, I know, everybody told me you need you could take off 2 days, 3 days. He goes, but don't worry, you don't have to pay me. I take off the 6 weeks, you don't pay me for the 6 weeks. He goes, Moshe, that's not the way you work. We rely on your job. You can only take off 2-3 days. Now I'm starting to think, what did I get into here? I'm a slave. I'm working, I can't even I don't want to get paid, but I got to work. This is ridiculous. This is not for me. I go over to him, I tell him, I'm giving you a 2-week notice. He says, why? I said, I feel like I'm in jail. I'm hardly making any money. I could only take off 3 days. I got to come and ask you weeks in advance. This is ridiculous. The Rebbe makes a farbrengen. I come to you, I say, I got to leave. There's a farbrengen. He tell me, Mosh. And then I said, you know something? I understand why my father can't make money. He's locked in jail. He's hardly making any money. I got to think bigger. So what did I do? I started thinking big. I had this little bagel business that I did. I started off a little bagel business. I used to buy from one store who sells bagels only. So I went to them and I said, listen, from now on, I'm going to have somebody come over here. He's going to turn on the oven every morning, so you'll have it kosher, and you're going to get a stamp. Jews are going to come buying from you bagels, but I'm going to be buying by you dozens and dozens of bagels. He says, okay, as long as you're not telling me that I got to rip out all the machines, and I'm going to have a rabbi on my tail and tell me, be my boss, because I heard it's a nightmare. I said, it's only bagels. Don't worry. I bring in a rabbi, and they come in. They say, we'll kosher everything. We'll do whatever. From now on, let me see what you bring into the place. They see everything he has is 100% kosher. Only one problem. All the workers come in with their food, and it's all treif. So they said, 1 second. From now on, this side is closed off. Let's break a wall. Everybody comes in separate door into this place. That's where they eat, and that's where food cannot come out of this. And then the bakery, everybody works in the bakery. The rabbis worked it all out, how it's going to be done. I can't get too technical. I just know it got the ashgacha. And before I turn around, I go to every store, to every restaurant. You're selling bagels, it's 5 days old, and you got to run to Brooklyn from Manhattan. You got to run to Brooklyn every day to pick up 3 dozen bagel. I'll deliver you 5 dozen bagel. You pay how much? $1.25 a bagel. I'll sell it to you for $1.60, but you're saving yourself on the gas. I said, sure, give me 4 bagels. And I had every single store in Manhattan buying me 3 dozen, 4 dozen. I'm picking up 85 dozen bagels. Then I'm picking up cheese danishes from another store. I used to go in the morning, but I didn't go. I hired a guy. You do the deliveries. I called up the bakeries. I had it all set up. I told the guy, this store gets this. I didn't do. I just made phone calls, and the business was growing and growing, and I had a dream to make big money, but I wanted to make my $1 at a time, $2. I was very careful with my money in the beginning. Once you make money, money makes money. So Ari asked me, what's practical in business? The practical thing is, first you got to have big dreams. If you don't have a big dream, you're not going to make big money. If you think you're going to make if your goal is to make $100,000 a year, I guarantee you're not going to make $1 more than the $100,000. You might get lucky if you make the $100,000, but if you say I'm going to be happy with $100,000 a year, you got to say, you know what? I want to make $1 million a year. I see other people who do it, but let me start with the 80,000 or the 50,000, whatever your friends tell you. That's the normal in the field, and save. In the beginning, you got to save $1, nickel, quarter. Be a little bit stingy. Don't be an animal. You got to give a couple of cents tzedakah. You want to go and buy yourself a coffee. Don't be, but you got to, at the end, like I said, you got to make a cheshbon and nefesh. The end of the week, you should have an extra quarter put away. And then at the end of the month, an extra $1. And then you take that money and you put it into yourself. And invest in yourself, and then get some of your friends. Come up with a good idea, whatever you're good at. If you know how to cook good, do it in the restaurant business. But eventually, real estate is where the money, the real money is. That gives you time to learn, gives you time to work. And that's why I say, for me, this is, if I could do this, I just got away my mitzvah of the day. I did. If I hear one day, Ari tells me, Moshe, you remember so-and-so, he heard you. He goes, you want to know something? The guy is not making too bad. They say he's in the top 10 richest. I say, Baruch Hashem. I feel great. The guy made money.